The real-life events that will be shared with you this evening may resonate with some of you on a personal level.
Hi everyone, I'm Dina, and I thank you all for being here today and listening to this story. Some of you may have read about what happened to Danielle, and Jennifer and I are here to tell you more about the story. I want to start, this may be read later, but I just want to start with reading a short biography on Danielle, just so you know who she was. She was born on Thursday, March 28, 1985 in Boyle County. Danielle was the daughter of Jamie Bright Thomas and the late Calvin D. Thomas. Danielle was most recently a financial analyst for the Weight Watchers Company in New York. Before accepting the position at Weight Watchers, Danielle worked several years for the Walt Disney Company in Florida. She attended Boyle County High School, where she was a member of the marching band for 5 years and was a section leader playing alto saxophone. She attended both the University of Florida for her MBA and the University of Central Florida, where she majored in hospitality management, and she was a member of the Eta Sigma Delta Honor Society. She loved to attend University of Florida football games, go on Disney cruises, attend concerts, skydiving, helping family and friends when they visited Disney properties, travel, and she was a roller coaster enthusiast. Recently, she took a trip to Mexico where she was able to enjoy a snorkeling trip where she swam with sharks. More than anything, she loved to spend time with her mother and grandmother, and had recently surprised them by taking them on a Disney cruise. I also want to read this excerpt taken from Danielle's high school classmate, which I think really describes her well. In AP English class our senior year, we were each given a classmate's name and instructed to write something about that person. The first and last sentences were to begin with, "The most important thing about ... This was what was written about Danielle. The most important thing about Danielle is that she is a nonconformist. Everything about her is a statement, from her just rolled out of bed look and Rapunzel locks to her little blue bug and the music she lives for. She effortlessly maintains a balance between her groupie rock life, staying true to her friends, and persevering in school. While most people spend years searching for who they are, she knows exactly who she is and who she wants to become. But remember, the most important thing about Danielle is that she is a nonconformist." I think this describes her well. She was a very strong person, not a weak person or an insecure person, which I think sometimes people stereotype people that are victims of domestic abuse, which is not the case at all. How I know Danielle. So I met Danielle at UCF through a mutual friend, and she was one of the most fun-loving, adventurous people I had ever met. I have many wonderful memories with Danielle, including an amazing and unforgettable trip to Costa Rica, which she organized. She was great at organizing trips and could have easily been a travel agent, amongst many other things. She was so smart and always had a sarcastic and witty comment about everything. I really miss those. She was always herself and did not change for anyone. I really respected that about her. She was a strong person with so many friends and people that loved her. At the top of the list were Danielle's mom, Jamie, and her grandma, Juanita. They lived for Danielle, and they were so very proud of her and all her accomplishments, and they wish that they could be here today. Many people have dreams, but Danielle actually made her dreams a reality. She came from a small town in Kentucky and dreamed of working at Disney. She moved to Orlando and attended UCF. She graduated and bought her first home. She landed a great job at Wyndham as a financial analyst. She most recently worked at Disney, which was her dream job. She traveled the world, including trips to Hong Kong, Japan, Australia. If there was adventure to be had, she was there. She had bad knees, but she didn't even let that stop her from doing anything. We would laugh at how she could just pop them back in if they went out, and she never made any excuses. After graduating, Danielle met Travis, who I believe was the love of her life, and they had a wonderful relationship. They dated and lived together for several years and ended up not working out, and he moved away to San Francisco for a job. Danielle was heartbroken after the breakup, and although she tried to be strong, you could tell she was upset. She thought she was going to marry Travis, and she wanted love and companionship like we all do. She dated here and there until she met Jason at a UF football game. I didn't get to meet Jason until right before she moved to New York, and only for a very short bit. But I did see his effects on her. I used to talk to and see Danielle quite regularly, whether it be just for wine and dinner at my house or even just texting to say hi. I recall there came a time when I just stopped hearing from her altogether. I recall a time when I was at brunch with her and he was nonstop texting her and very mad that she was at brunch with me, her girlfriend. And she said that they had not agreed not to hang out with anyone until they saw each other again. And he was still living in New York at this time. I told her how odd that was and it was not normal or healthy. And he was very controlling of her. She told me how they had been going to couples therapy and that he had trust issues because of his past. And Jason had been abused by his father and abandoned by his mother. She was making excuses for him, and all this was not like the Danielle that I knew at all. And she was just smitten and almost brainwashed by this guy. She told me that she had been looking for jobs in New York, and I told her not to move there just for him. And the way she told us about her move to New York was crazy. She just sent her close friends a Facebook message saying that she was moving there in a week. And again, she was not acting like herself at all. My tip is, if your friends tell you that something's wrong, listen to your friends, because sometimes they see things that you don't, and they're the ones who love you the most. Sometimes we get stubborn and think that we know what's best for ourselves, but it's really a good idea to listen to what your friends are saying. And like Rebecca said, no one should ever tell you to not hang out with your friends or take you away from people and things that you love doing. I want to share a poem that was one of Danielle's favorite poems, and it also describes her because she always wanted to make the most of her dash. The poem is titled "The Dash." I read of a man who stood to speak at the funeral of his friend. He referred to the dates on her tombstone from the beginning to the end. He noted that first came the date of her birth and spoke of the following date with tears. But he said what mattered most of all was the dash between those years. For that dash represents all the time that she spent alive on earth. And now only those who loved her know what that little line is worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live and love and how we spend our dash. So think about this long and hard. Are there things you'd like to change? For you never know how much time is left that can still be rearranged. If we could just slow down enough to consider what's true and real, and always try to understand the way other people feel, and be less quick to anger and show appreciation more, and love the people in our lives like we've never loved before. If we treat each other with respect, and more often wear a smile, remembering that this little dash might only last a little while. So when your eulogy is being read, with your life's actions to rehash, would you be proud of the things they'd say about how you'd spent your dash? And I just want to end with telling one of Danielle's favorite stories and just a few things that we've done to raise awareness, and then I'm going to pass it over to Jennifer. This is one of Danielle's favorite stories about meeting Jon Stewart, and I think this also describes her really well. So back in 2005, 3 of my friends and I went to a taping of The Daily Show. After waiting outside in the cold, kind of ghetto, for about an hour, I suppose he wanted to weed out the true fans. We were the last 4 standing, and Jon came out to say hello. I'd been joking that I was going to kiss him when I met him, and Josh called me on it. Jon said something or another about being a Jewish pimp, which I didn't really understand until I saw the picture. After the fact, he told us that we were in a sketch area and offered us a quick ride. He drives himself to and from work, no driver like Colbert. But I was too elated, and out of it said, no, we're fine, and began my 12-block skip back to Times Square. Oops. Also got a Danielle enjoy this stupid book on the front page of my copy of America. Fast forward 6 months later, and Megan and I were taking a last-minute trip to New York. Keep in mind there was about a 1-year waiting period for tickets at this time to see him. I emailed the ticketing line to see if they had any spare seats, and signed my name as the chick that kissed the Jewish pimp in the middle of the street last March. The message got forwarded to John himself, who remembered everything and told his staffer to hook us up. Easily one of my top 5 stories. Just a few things that we're doing. When we learned about Danielle's death, her close friends created a PayPal account and raised money to help pay for the funeral arrangements. We also, Danielle's friends from high school have been selling these Justice for Danielle bracelets for $5, and we've raised funds. There's been a scholarship fund set up at her high school for a marching band student to be awarded to. And we also are doing in March a cornhole tournament. So if you'd like to learn more about that, you can like us on Facebook at Danielle Thomas Memorial Tournament, and also follow on Twitter at Play for Danielle. Also, we've been, Jennifer and I volunteered this past Saturday at the Harbor House. We did a door hanging event, and I definitely encourage you all to get involved with them as well. I'm gonna go ahead and pass it over to Jennifer. Thank you all for listening.